everybody, it's Michelle. Yesterday my son Brennan brought me Junie B. Jones' first grader boss of lunch, and we got up to chapter 9, which is called Baloney. And this morning I started on Junie B. Jones, turkeys we have loved and eaten, and other thankful stuff. I started on chapter 1 of that, but I thought that my son had taken his book back to school, the Boss of Lunch one. I thought he took it back to school this morning, so I started on the Thanksgiving book. But shortly after I read that chapter, I realized that I did still have Boss of Lunch. So I'm going to finish this chapter, or this book, the last couple of chapters, and then I'll start on chapter 2 of the Thanksgiving book, okay? Alright, so Junie B., first grader, boss of lunch, and we are going to pick back up on chapter 9, Baloney. Monday. Dear first grade journal, room 1 is still mad at me about Friday. After we went back to the room, Miss Gutzman brought bologna sandwiches for the children who didn't eat. They were not a hit, I tell you. I sat at my desk, and I ate out of my new lunchbox. I had a tasty peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 'cause brought lunch is way better than bought lunch, I tell you. And that is not even my fault. Some of the children watched me eat. They made growly faces at me. Today, Herbert is my only friend. Also, Lenny and Jose are being reasonable. Also, I wish Friday never happened. From Junie B., first grader. So, as we know from the last few chapters, Junie B. has had permission to help Miss Gladys Gutzman in the kitchen. And she didn't do so well. She got germs on a lot of stuff and had to change her mitts and, because of hygiene and everything. And she told the kids that they were having a stinky lunch, so they didn't eat. So, I guess they've gone back to class. And Miss Gutzman brought all the kids that were going to have bought lunches, brought them some bologna sandwiches, and they didn't really care for that. So, all right. I peeked my eyes at the clock. It was almost 2:15. Just one more hour to go before I could go home. I tried to make the clock go faster with my eyes, but it didn't actually work that good. Just then, there was a knock on our door. Mr. Scary answered it. "Why, hello," he said. "Why, hello yourself," said a friendly voice. And guess what? It was Mrs. Gutzman. She walked in the room with 2 boxes in her arms. My heart pounded and pounded to see that woman, 'cause what if she came back to scold me? I slumped way down in my seat so she couldn't see me. Mrs. Gutzman set the boxes on Mr. Scary's desk. Then she looked all around the room. I slumped even further down in my seat. Only too bad for me, because Blabbermouth May pointed right at me. "Mrs. Gutzman! Mrs. Gutzman!" she hollered. "Junie Jones is trying to hide from you. She is sliding way down in her chair so you can't see her, but I'm keeping track of her movements." After that, I slid all the way to the floor under my desk. I crawled up into a ball and hid my head. Pretty soon, I heard feet walking to my desk. I'm getting used to that sound. The feet stopped next to my chair, and I opened one eye and peeked out. I saw the bottom of Mrs. Gutzman's white apron. "Junie B.," said her voice, "why are you sitting on the floor?" I didn't move any of my muscles. And here's Junie B. slouching down in her chair, and May is screaming out that she's trying to hide from Miss Gutzman. That's a mean little girl. 'Cause maybe she would still go away, possibly. "Junie B.," said Miss Gutzman again, "I brought something for your class. Don't you want to see what it is?" I shook my head. "No, thank you," I said. "I don't want to see it. And so you can be on your way now, please." I opened my other eye and looked at her feet. They kept on standing there. Then all of a sudden, I heard a loud groan. Oh, and what do you know? That woman squatted right down next to me in the floor. I I was shocked to see her do that. "Mrs. Gutzman," I said, "what are you doing down here?" Mrs. Gutzman did not look comfortable. "Please, Junie B., I need your help," she said. "I brought cookies for your class today, but there's no one up there to help me pass them out." I rolled my eyes way back in my head, 'cause that was not even the truth, of course. "Yes, there is, Mrs. Gutzman," I said. "There's lots of people up there to help you." Miss Gutzman shook her head. No, you don't understand," she said. After that, she reached into her pocket and she pulled out a pair of plastic mitts. "I need a real helper, Junie B.," she said. "I need someone with experience." Mrs. Gutzman smiled kind of painful. "Please," she said, "if we don't stand soon, I'm going to fall right on my keister and you'll never get me up." I did a teensy smile, 'cause that was a little joke, I believe. Finally, I crawled out from under my desk and I helped Mrs. Gutzman to stand up. "I guess I can help you pass out cookies," I said kind of quiet, "but some of these children are still very mad at me, you know." Mrs. Gutzman held my hand. "Yes, well, I think maybe I can fix that," she said. After that, me and her walked to the front of the room together, and Mrs. Gutzman showed everyone the cookies. "Sugar cookies!" shouted the children. "Thank you, Mrs. Gutzman, thank you." Mrs. Gutzman put her hand on my shoulder. "Don't thank me, class," she said. "Junie B. Jones is the one who reminded me to pay you a visit this year. She's the one you need to thank." For a second, no one said anything. Then, all of a sudden, Herb hollered out, "Thank you, Junie B. Jones!" And then all the other children hollered too, "Thank you!" I grinned real big at everybody, 'cause those words felt happy in my ears. After that, I hurried back to the sink and washed my hands. Then I quick put on my mitts and ran back. Mrs. Gutzman gave me a thumbs up. "Ready to go, helper?" she asked. "Ready to go," I said back. And so then both of us passed out all the cookies together. And I did a perfect job. And so here's what I am thinking. I am thinking that maybe someday I won't be the boss of lunch after all. Maybe someday I will just be the boss of cookies instead. Because boss of cookies is the most delicious job I ever heard of. Plus also, I will get to make all the cookie rules. And I have already thought of rule number 1. I wrote it down in my journal so I wouldn't forget it. Rule number 1. 1. The boss of cookies gets to have 5 sugar cookies all to herself. P.S. Only never eat them in front of the children because that would be rude probably. P.S. again. Plus sometimes she can even eat 6. Ha! The end. And here's a picture of Junie B. and Mrs. Gutzman giving each other a thumbs up. That was a really good book. All right, so check out that chapter of that book. It was called Junie B. First Grader Boss of Lunch, and she's so cute. All right, now shortly I will read or get started on turkeys we have loved and eaten and other thankful stuff. And I've already read chapter 1, so see that one and then look at chapter 2. All right, bye everybody.